All right, so welcome back to CrudCast.
Episode 3.
3, 4, 5, 6. We're disorganized, so. So Crud being at the top. But to understand where Crud started, you got to back up to a band called Piss Bucket that played at a place called Piss Bucket because it didn't have a bathroom and everybody pissed in a bucket. But before you understand that, you got to understand Gypsy Scream. That was at Bus Station 1 because you lived in too many places around Oceanside by the bus station.
Right.
But before that, we got to get into a band called Ironfish.
Yeah.
So this, I want to say, was about 1990.
Probably, yeah, maybe late 80s,
Yeah.
So I think I was around 28 years old when that happened. It started with me and Joe Powers.
We'll call him Joe Power.
Joe Power.
Captain Joe Power.
And then we got
I met him.
Pete, who was a really, really good guitar player. He was I don't think he was a Marine or ex-Marine. He was really good. And then we got Jeff Hebebrand, when the cook, after Jimmy left, the new cook at Beach Break Cafe, that was his roommate, Jeff Hebebrand, and he's a famous tattoo artist now, world renowned. And you got Rudy, who came in and played rhythm. And the name Ironfish is what Joe came up with. It was kind of like Led Zeppelin, Ironfish, and that's how he came up with that name. Never really played anywhere, and then it kind of disbanded and went to Gypsy Scream. Joe kind of left, Rudy, and then we got Derek Budemeyer. Derek Budemeyer was part of Ironfish, and then the other two guys left, and then we got Steve Schaller, who was from Alabama. We used to call him from Alabama. He was the bass player.
Yeah, so Derek was part of Ironfish.
Just for a short time.
Okay.
A short time, yeah.
Interesting.
That's the core Ironfish. He barely even played maybe one time with us, and then we played at Gleno's house. We practiced there, but I wouldn't really consider him a member. That was really the core, that four right there. And it's funny because that band right there, we all lived together. It was the full rock and roll house across from the bus station. And as long as we were together, it was so dysfunctional that whole time together, we probably had 3 songs. And
memorable song is going to be really short.
We did play. We played one show at Phil's place back in the day with the Nun. What was it? Explosive Nuns. Which is Explosive Nuns is Slur, the two brothers from Slur. Do you have Slur on here?
Was that Rex and Jose?
Rex and Jose. They had a band called
Rex.
Explosive Nun, and Jose played actually didn't have a drum set. He played a drum machine. And we played that. And the funny thing is the 3 guys, Jeff Hebebrand, Steve Schaller, and Derek well, I think Steve had a regular job, but Jeff and Derek didn't. Jeff did tattoos for money. Derek was just a bum. So much so that...
Didn't he end up with some kind of record company or something?
So much so that there was a time when we were at practice and Derek was kind of, I don't know, doing something and
we didn't call them bums back then. We were just all a bunch of broke back ballers.
Yeah. So Jeff, Derek was, I don't know, he was complaining about something and Jeff goes, "Hey, Derek, if you don't like it, take your pick and leave." Because that's all he owned was his guitar pick. So, and yeah, and the other thing is, I remember they rented a hotel one time,
at least I got this.
Yeah, in Escondido, and they go, "Come on, Kirby, let's go hang out."
I remember that story.
And I get to this hotel in Escondido there, and we're all hanging out. Okay, yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat. And I'm like, whatever. They go to this McDonald's, and I swear to you, Steve and Derek go into the garbage and are like pulling out burgers that that they throw away because they're perfectly not bitten out of it. They after a while
They were just the cold ones or the leftovers.
And they're like, "Score!" I'm like, "You guys are freaking gross. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm sure it was fine, but like,
Right.
but still, but that's how poor they were. Like, and they didn't care. They're 19, 20-year-old gypsies for real. And we all still roll on Facebook. We all still keep in touch. Like I said, Jeff's a world-renowned tattoo artist. Derek is as well, and he's got his own guitar music on there. Steve's the bass player is he's like a professor, I think, in college. He's a really smart guy.
Wow.
And then at the Piss Bucket, after Gypsy Scream kind of faded out, Cary was right. There was this full-on gnarly side of Oceanside, this garage where we had the jam room, and it was funny because we had an extension cord that went out of the garage that went into the house where Jose lived.
Yeah.
And we plugged the extension cord into his room.
Yeah.
And then we would go into the jam room, and that one extension cord plugged all the power of all the electronics, so the amps and...
What was funny was I went to high school with that guy, but I cannot remember his last name.
Oh, with Jose?
Yeah.
Brandon wasn't in Piss Bucket.
He showed up there.
Maybe he did show up. Maybe he did show up.
No, I remember. So here's a funny story.
Oh, he did show up there, yeah.
He showed up there and jammed. And then I think Rudy had to grab the bucket of piss and go pour it outside. And then we're outside drinking a beer. And
right, he did.
Now this is
Towards the end, right?
This is like early to mid '90s, and there's prostitutes all over that part of town,
right?
Walking down the alleyways this and the other.
I think it was Hill Street still, right?
And it was Hill Street. It was Hill Street. And Brandon says something, and I'm like, what? And we look over, and I'm like, I think that's a guy. And
you can usually tell.
Yeah, right. I forget. Somebody said, if it's a good-looking prostitute, it's either a guy or a cop. Yeah. And then somebody else came out and was like, damn, look at that ass. I'd fucking tear that shit up. And whatever it was, like, skirted away quick. And it was just like one of those things where like, it was like so funny. Like the beer was just kind of shooting out your nose.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just so abrasive and sarcastic and beer's stupid funny as fuck. But
right. And so what happened with that is Jose had a dad who was a good musician himself, and it was a garage that was actually 2-car garage. So the jam room was, you opened up the garage door, but you actually opened up a door and went into the jam room. And I had my key, was at a deadbolt, and his dad came. He got mad. He would get drunk, and he took the key, so there was no way for us to lock our equipment up. So therefore, right then, after we jammed, it kind of sucked. We had to move out right then and there, and moved all our equipment out, and that ended that. No, then we moved into the little white house where Rudy lived across the street from Anita's, next to the massage parlor.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when we played outside, and that little lady yelled at us, and that was that. And you weren't even playing the drums, but you would come and hang out. And I think you kind of got on the drums in the studio, just
a little bit,
right?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'd come borrow the keys from you.
I'd mess around with it, and then right at this point, I was working at this job and going to school at Maricosta to learn how to record. I had bought a Remo drum set I thought like somewhere down the line. We needed one for the studio, so me and Tom, I ended up getting the Jam Shack studio, and we wanted to make a recording studio there, so I got a drum set for it. At that same time, you were just starting to learn to play the drums, and you ended up buying that. Yeah,
Brandon's brother's drum set.
Oh, is that what it was? The chrome one?
It was all chrome.
Yeah, the chrome pearl. And I'd go take because the Remo had Zildjian cymbals, right? And I think the pearl had Pisces, something like that. I said, just take the 2 drum sets and make one bitch and one, and sell the rest. I think that's what you did. And then all of a sudden it was me, you, and Tom jamming, and then Bruce lived right down the street from JFA. He lived up the street and joined us, and all of a sudden there was us 4 playing. And I guess, Brandon, then we got Brandon to come in to play lead, and then Tom went on tour with Whitney Houston. He did the lights, but he was gone for almost a year, so then it was just me, you, Bruce, and Brandon. And we did play a party at Brandon's house, and we also played our very first gig, which was at the K's Club.
K's Club, that's right.
Yeah, and we played with the Perverts, a few other. Was Skip's band in that? I don't remember Skip's, but it was the Perverts and a couple other Oceanside bands, I think, maybe. But that was our first real gig. And then Brandon, then Tom came back, and I think he played with a little bit with this group here. And then Bruce was like, "I'm over it. I'm gonna play with my band." And then we got
because Bruce got busy. Like all of a sudden, JFA had like a schedule to keep.
Yeah.
And so that was his full commitment, anyways.
Right, and we
do owe him a big thanks because it was like the
he
first 10 songs where he kind of like cracked us into shape.
Yeah, he kind of taught us how to write. And the thing is, all these guys, other than Bruce, which none of us knew how to write music at all, or read music, or really, and so we just would do this like, okay, we're going to do this riff 4 times, this one 4 times.
Yeah.
This is how we had the songs up. Remember, they were up on. I had them up on the wall.
Yeah.
So we could just look up and
we had the name of the song, and then it was like X amount of verse, X amount of this, X amount of that.
And that's how we wrote songs. And at one point, at the, I'm not sure how many years it was. I would say 3 or 4 years, maybe. Crud lasted
longer than that.
Maybe longer than that.
Yeah.
We had played up tons of shows and stuff like that, but we were about at 20 songs. One stop.
I think we're at 30.
At 30, yeah. We had a pretty big list, and then I lost the Jam Shack place, and it just kind of anyway, it just was like, well, we had a place to practice at, and it just kind of
right around that time. Is that when you recorded the demo, the bicycle demo?
The bicycle demo,
like I think it was like 1995.
Was I think 90? Yeah, well 90. I would say 96 because 97 Prophylactic was the year that's how I know, because it was 1997 when he came up with the name 97 Prophylactic. So that was a time. I think that was the year where we were going to Bullfrogs in.
And Sonoma Valley.
Yeah, it was super cheap to record there, and we recorded Bicycle there. I recorded a custom car show there, and the 97 Prophylactic there. All the Crud one we did. We recorded Bicycle in. Everybody was in separate rooms, right? We kind of did it like that. Where these two were recorded just live, basically, just kind of with headphones and hit the record button. So there wasn't a whole lot of
bleed over.
Yeah, with it. But I mean, I'm pretty proud of all three groups. The custom car show was, and the funny thing is, all these three Crud would practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Custom car show was on Fridays, and then 97 Prophylactic was like Monday and Wednesdays. And the funny thing was, there was a show that Crud played at the end of South Oceanside. It was the second time we played it. The first time was one of our best shows ever, but the second time, I think the cops came, and I was, of course, probably drank too much. And
that was where Barry lived.
Where Barry lived, yeah.
Barry lived, and then across the driveway, Summer and Shane lived.
Yeah, I think Tanya lived, or
probably.
I think, but anyhow, we played, and the cops came. It did. I think you might have even broken maybe you might have broken your drum set.
Oh, I've broken so much shit over the years.
But it wasn't a very good show, and we got shut down. I remember being drunk, and it was my fault. I was like, telling Brad and John, "Oh, come on, let's keep going." Blah, blah, blah. And they got mad at me, and so apparently they kicked me out of my band. Tom was gone. It was me, Cary, Brandon, and John, and they kicked me out, or they were going to try to kick me out, but I'm like, whatever, go ahead, do whatever you want. They tried to get Cary. Of course, Cary was like, no, that ain't happening. So they went and tried to play with.
Oh, the Ashtray guys.
Trade with Alan from Ashtray.
Yeah.
Or was it Alan?
Alan, yeah.
Alan was drunk. Yeah, so played with Alan from Ashtray. Brad and John went there, and me and Cary were like, all right, well, we got 97 from Lactic. We'll just go to Bullfrog and record it with these guys. So while they're messing around with this dude, we already recorded a 6-song demo thing or whatever. I don't know how many songs were on there, but we recorded that, and then they came back and were like, hey, we can't play with that guy, you know. And the funny thing is, the whole thing was because my drinking, smoking weed, and the partying thing, so we kind of sat and had a meeting and said, hey, let's try to be a little bit more professional, and we all agreed. But then it was like, it wasn't the same.
Right.
It was really dry, so we just went back to partying and playing, and then but anyhow, yeah, custom car show. Tom played the bass. Tom left Crud at that point because of Leslie. Her and John had kind of a falling out, and she was our manager at the time and was kind of just overwhelming, and she made Tom quit, I think.
Two guys that left one band started another. One guy goes on to another band. Another guy from a previous band comes in. Two guys go off, do another thing. Two guys go off, do another bit. Two guys go off, do another bit.
And that's kind of I don't know if that's it for me. I think you, and then you.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, the board probably needs to be bigger.
Yeah, you did. You're over here in the blue where you went, or is that, that's Johnny. So you went.
Yeah, so Johnny.
So you're in the red. You're in the red. Yeah. So you went. You were in 97 Prophylactic. You
Head Change.
We're in Head Change. Really good band. That was kind of a 97 Prophylactic. I don't say knockoff. Just it was kind of off of that. So
but yeah, so you, me, Chad, and Jesse doing 97 Prophylactic, and then Chad and Jesse came back. I joined with them. With Cary Hutchinson, and that was Head Change, and that was kind of a triple threat thing.
Yeah, that was, and then Jesse went on to. Do you have Jesse's?
He's currently. I need to talk with him to figure out other bands that he was with. He's currently with Natty Prophets, and
he's with Natty Prophets
doing reggae stuff, and they got some radio play and some good stuff going on right now.
And you got Brandon went on to. Play with Dick Wagner, Alice Cooper's
guitar player, rhythm guitar player. Sadly passed away in 2014.
Right, and then you have
JFA Bruce Taylor. So being with JFA, and then he went on with Agent Orange for a while too.
Right, and then you have, and then you went. Yes, you went there, but then you have. Didn't you? And then you were also with Liz when you guys played that one show. And then Johnny was with Liz. With you and Johnny went and played kind of rhythm section there. Then he did Head Sick and 8 Foot Face. And then you got another one. I don't know if you have. Down here we got Shut Eye. Where James.
Well, that's where I reemerged.
Kind of reemerged,
That was we did a couple of things before that.
Yeah, we did some just recording
jams
type projects and stuff, and then this was kind of a folk rock plug-in.
Well, originally it was it was full on, but then there was a guy, I think it was Greg Barney. He was the maintenance guy or something. He asked us to turn down or something.
Oh yeah,
and then Rudy switched to acoustic, and I'd be sitting there playing like Mellow Leaves and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh,
Those
right. And we also actually played. There was a reggae record store on Hill Street. I don't think it's still there, but me and Rudy played there, and then we also played. You and Rudy played at.
Was it the?
Which is
Salvation Army thing, or no? Brother Benno?
No, we played the Rusty Spur.
Oh yeah,
We played the Rusty Spur. I don't know if it was called the Rusty Spur at the time.
It was called the Rusty. It was in 2006.
Yeah,
it was
and then
summer, maybe around June, July 2006.
Me and Rudy played because he was this thing called McAllister's, where people go to for anger management or where the courts would send you to do things, and so.
On Oceanside Boulevard?
Yeah. I don't know if it's still there.
Right across the street, or was right across the street?
Yeah. Yeah, it might be. It might be. Yeah, anyhow. Is it that way? Yeah.
It's like right here.
Right.
And so it was funny because we played the graduation thing, and it was like playing in a classroom, literally like we were this close.
I saw some of the pictures of that.
Yeah, it was funny.
And they had that one chick that used to do background vocals. All I remember, she had the Pink Panther t-shirt.
Yeah, the Pink Panther. Yeah, one of
But I think she did 2 shows.
Oh yeah, then we played.
I don't remember.
We played out in this Valley Center, this huge ranch, and we got paid. And we're just this 3-piece. Eddie was too.
I wasn't
He was
there.
too shy to play bongos. Yeah, you weren't there. You didn't end up going, but it was this rich house. They had, I don't know. We played. They paid us $100, and then we did Electronic Cynic, and we only ended up playing that one show that we talked about.
Well, we played in Poway.
We played in Poway at
a apartment,
like a clubhouse
club. It was Steve Wall, his bass player.
Yeah.
He stayed in Poway.
Yeah,
and it was his apartment complex.
No, it was an apartment complex. It was a community.
Yeah, it was
like a community.
I mean, it was
a pool.
Because he was in the apartment complex.
I thought that was a house.
No, that was a clubhouse, but he was in that apartment complex. I think he was like the manager or knew the manager or something.
Yeah, we played there, and then
we played 2 places basically.
The poor house, which was a good gig, and then faster. We didn't get to that point where you also did that faster. That was one of your last. That was one of your last bands before we got Crud back together, right? Faster.
Well, this was like probably 2003 or 4, and then I got busy with work, and then had the fortunate opportunity to be able to add on to the house. So then, kind of like put all the music shit away and started ripping into the house.
Right.
And then so
that was little priorities.
So that was a priority.
And then don't forget, you also jammed with Gary Clyde. He was this amazing. He's actually world-class steel slide guitar player. I mean, I'm a professional of all professionals.
Country blues guys.
And we had at the Jam Shack. We had like an all-star band. It was really amazing. It was like Cary was on drums. This one, I think even Jesse. Did Jesse jam with him?
I think he did.
Maybe he might have Jesse might jam. The one kid with the dreadlocks, Mark from New Jersey. Remember the kid with the dreadlocks?
Yeah.
And then I think Bruce from JFA was playing.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. When Gary showed up, it was like he got like one body from like everybody that had a jam.
And he made everybody good. I mean, that music was it was just like he would be like, okay, dude, one hit this beat, boom, 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 and then he go, all right, hits it, let's go, and then it was just automatically
gave us a crash course in music and music theory.
And ended up playing out at Steve's house that one time. You guys, and then all of a sudden, so it was you guys, this misfit band, from all these bands, and then in comes his buddies. So here comes a guy with a saxophone and
and a keyboard.
And was it a keyboard?
There's a keyboard guy.
A keyboard guy, yeah. They come walking in, and that was an amazing jam. And you got the mens rea. That was me and Shreddy. Just basically had maybe one song. The Motherfolkers. That's when Jam Shack got shut down and was just a bunch of actually homeless guys. I used to hang out with Mark and Woody and my friend Jason. Then he wasn't homeless, but then we just would play acoustic songs and so it's about
lots of twists and turns.
So
it definitely goes all over the place.
I remember hearing about all this, but how it all fits together and seeing it on a board is a little bit like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
and when you look at like just with what Jam Shack was doing, because all these different things is all what kind of like practice there or rehearse there almost on a regular.
Yeah.
So it was like there was like always something happening there.
Yeah, there was always.
And then there was the weird shit. There was those. Was it the bass player and drummer from Dokken that were always looking to score like weed or whatever that kept showing up?
Oh. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like that guy that used to always sell the Porsches and Mercedes. That blonde haired dude. I forget his name. He would show up with like those guys.
Right, yeah.
And then like those guys told 2 friends. So like there was always these like weird, obscure,
Tony
like
Allen.
known people that would Tony
Allen showed up there.
It was kind of weird. Like what the hell are those guys like? How'd they wind up here?
Yeah,
in Oceanside, looking to score weed or whatever.
The funny thing is, you go out the back door of the Jam Shack, and Bill from the Perverts lived in the apartments across the track, and he'd see me Kirby, hey, we'll be over in about 10 minutes. Wait, whatever. We're yelling. We can literally yell across the rail tracks. And it was,
he still has his Volkswagen bus.
Yeah, he still has his Volkswagen bus, yeah. And we played a lot of shows with punk rock bands. But
yeah, that was the other cool thing too. Was that it's like here we are, a hard rock band, and the punk rock guys know the words to some of our songs.
Right.
That was they'd come up and sing "Despise" with us. And, what was another one they did? Did they do "Fall"?
I don't know. Well, I don't think it was Fall. But definitely Despise, I remember.
I remember "Despise" real well.
Oh, it was Dragonfly.
Dragonfly.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because I think Justin came up and sang.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. He would always yell, Despise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because Justin really liked that song, Dragonfly.
Yeah, cool. That's all I got.
Remember, people, nobody gives a shit about this. It's just a bunch of bands from the 90s that never made it out of North County.
This was the Traveling Never Will Be's.
The Traveling Never Will Be's. It wasn't band practice, it was beer practice.
Yeah. It was banned.
Yeah.
Banned.
How many times did we get banned?